Alrighty, hello Blue Room. Um, you've heard before that children learn best through play. In New York City, what we have is play-based preschool programs and children learning through play. It is a cliche that you've heard many times before because it is very true. Children learn best through play. This is a very difficult thing, though, to kind of wrap your mind around. I mean, if you know, you know, but if you don't, I'd like to try to explain just a little bit because it's a lot. I get it. So let's take a look at some of the things that we have here. I'm going to start with, here we go. Take a look at, these are some transportation counters. Kids love the transportation counters. They are fun to line up. They are fun to sort into piles. And in fact, it is a one of our 38, I think it's 38 different learning goals that we have for the children, that they are able to not only sort one way, but sort two different ways. So you would probably typically see most kids come over and start sorting these into color piles, right? Well, when we are learning through play and there is a teacher there helping out, what we're going to do is ask the children, can you think of another way that we can group these? And maybe we'll see, can the children start doing, here we go, grouping by function maybe. We have our school buses, we have our ships, we have our airplanes, we have our locomotives. Speaking of that, it is extremely common at the pre-K age for children to be able to name all of these. They can name nouns all day long. But we want them to also be able to answer WH questions. Who drives the school bus? Where are you going to find a ship? Why are you flying in an airplane instead of taking a car? What does the train travel on? If it's not on a road, what are you going to drive your train on? Those WH questions are a higher level that we really need to make sure we're keeping track if the children are able to answer these questions, and we need to support that skill. Alrighty, they are called transportation counters. Obviously, we are going to practice counting with them, but one of the things we're going to do as we practice our counting is we are going to try to encourage counting in an organized manner. We want to make sure, it's very common. In early childhood, we see a lot of kids who are able, maybe they can even count up to 100. But are they counting one number for each item? We need to make sure children are counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and they know that that means, and when they end here, saying 5 at the end means that's how many of those green toys there are. It is also common in pre-K for us to see children who are counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 13. I have 13. Being able to practice counting one number for each item, becoming competent with one-to-one tagging or one-to-one correspondence. This is a skill we are working on. We also, you can see, there seem to be more oranges than greens. How many more oranges than greens? How can we find out? Should we match 1 for 1 and see how many we have left over? Boy, that sounds like something we're going to be doing while we're learning how to subtract in a few years. Other things that we can do with these are patterning. Patterning is a very under-discussed, underrated skill that we work on a lot in pre-K. It's very important, not just as a math skill, but as a literacy skill as well. So, taking these ones aside, other toys that are terrific for patterning would be stringing beads. Stringing beads is a great way to practice patterning and counting. It's also a really terrific way to exercise those little fine motor muscles. Other things we have here for that, let's take a look at my alphabets. Here's one little guy. We have this alphabet. He looks like the letter C to me. He gives me the opportunity to talk to the children while they are playing about what letter he is, what sound he makes, what words we might find him in, but also he's a little robot and he likes to tap dance. And if you have the fine motor skills and the coordination and the planning and the stamina, you can open him up and make him into this robot. And these kinds of toys I very much encourage at this age. All of these, you know, it's important to remember that a lot of kids do go to kindergarten knowing all of their letters, being able to recognize them, knowing their sounds, but it's so frustrating when you give them paper and a pencil when they have trouble making it look the way they know it's supposed to look, making pictures that look the way they know they're supposed to look. So these kinds of toys, the stringing beads, lacing cards, pegboards, tweezer games. It's even time, here we go for this one. It might be time to put away the Duplo blocks and take out those little Legos, the ones that hurt so much when we step on. It's time for those because the children do need those fine motor skills going forward in kindergarten. Not just being able to make the motions, having the strength and the planning and the stamina to keep going and use those muscles. So we want strong muscles that are able to do some work. Let's take a look here. Let's put those guys away. Oh, you can see over there I have lots and lots of puzzles. We love puzzles because while the children are doing puzzles, they are working toward a self-reinforcing goal. Once they complete a puzzle, just completing the puzzle is in itself something that makes them feel so good, and there's that immediate sense of accomplishment. But so often we see the children, they take the puzzle and dump it out again as soon as they're finished with it, because children learn best through play. They are hardwired already to practice new skills as they attain them. So even if they have done that puzzle 10, 11, 12 times, something about it, if they keep going back to it, there is some skill that their brains are working on practicing. Also, while the children are over here, they are working and learning through play, they are probably doing it along with some friends. And while they are doing that with those friends, they are practicing the cooperation. They are having a give and take conversation, which is also one of those 38 learning goals. They are listening and answering questions on topic. Oh, how can you see all of that? They might be introducing new vocabulary with their friends and learning new vocabulary as they go. It's really easy in early childhood to get confused with how learning works in the older grades. We are all very accustomed to the idea that learning is a ladder going up. First you learn addition, then you learn subtraction, then you learn multiplying and dividing, and then maybe comes algebra, and then after that's going to be your trigonometry, and then your calculus, and you climb this ladder of learning, one thing on top of each other. And in early childhood, we're not doing that. In early childhood, we are building a foundation. We are building a strong, broad, deep, wide foundation on which all the other learning can be built. The children's experiences that they have through play and through the stories that you read to them and I read to them, that is the foundation for learning on which all of the future grades that they will be in will be built. So here we go. One way to think of it is you can have the smartest kid in the most advanced physics class, and if he did not spend time as a child just throwing rocks into the water to watch them splash and watch those waves ripple out, that child is going to be in a disadvantage in that class. Children learn best through play. It is a guided play. There is incidental teaching that comes along the way. If your child is in the sandbox and playing with a funnel, I'm going to run over there with some different size funnels so they can see what happens with different funnels and experiment with it. And maybe they'll ask some questions, and maybe I'll have some questions for them, and maybe they'll tell their friends about it. And that's what we do here. Incidental teaching, learning through play. I will probably do a follow-up to this one as well.